We've got about 2 minutes until the close, so we'll take a look at the closing price here in just a second. Um, Nothing really much going on these last couple days, probably because FOMC is tomorrow. So once things get moving, we'll probably see some increase in volatility and really the next move in the market. But we'll talk about that. Let's go ahead and get started. Good afternoon. This is Ifan from the Strategic Day Trader, and this is your market wrap for September 20th, 2022. Qs down about 0.89, and then SPY down about 1.2, but we had a rally yesterday, and so we're around where we closed on Friday, really. So, yesterday we had a little bit of a rally. As we talked about on Friday, we need to wait until we have some kind of pivot. Most likely something around the 20 MA. We got some version of it, pretty sloppy on the Qs and the SPY. So, hourly still in a downtrend, 20 MA pointing down, lower lows, lower highs. We're getting a little bit choppier here. Yesterday I thought overall was very choppy. Today, not much different. You can see today we tried to move up in the morning, then we gave it back in the afternoon, and then closing around where we opened. So very neutral last couple days, but of course we are overall bearish. So that means that doesn't change anything for our bias. So here on the Qs over 291.20, that's kind of where this resistance is. We will move to neutral. Okay, anything below that, as long as we stay below that, then bearish. Okay, because we are in a downtrend on the hourly. We are in a downtrend on the daily. We are in a downtrend on the weekly, right? So we have time frame alignment. That is the point, okay? And so we'll see what the shakeup is tomorrow afternoon, how the market reacts, and then the verdict will still be out because as we've seen in the past, FOMC, we could get a decent rally and the next day gap down. Okay, we've seen that a few times. So regardless of if tomorrow's a sell-off or a rally, we will have to see if that move holds into the next day or if it gets immediately negated, which we've seen in the past, whether it's a rally or a sell-off. More likely, if it is a sell-off, it will be sustained because it will be in alignment with the trend that we've been in. Okay, so if that is the case, more likely continuation, but still we'll have to check it out Thursday and see what kind of follow through we get. Okay, so getting into today's plays. Yesterday I didn't have any plays. There really wasn't a whole lot to do. Did the open, a lot of sloppy thin things at the open yesterday. Today, not much different. Very similar. We had kind of again where we've been in the same range we've been in to like in last week. Okay, but there was a really nice gap on the forward. Sammy had two plays on it in the morning as a 1 minute high low right there. That's pretty nice. And then as well as a 5 minute sell setup after the rally. So there it is, 5 minute sell setup and then bases and then breaks down from there back into the lows. So clear relative weakness here on the forward, closing at the lows too. Rolling over there on the daily, nice shock value gapping underneath the green bar there. So yeah, really the play of the day there on the forward. If you got this, you really didn't need much else. You could have even, got it at the open and then in this case just walked away. So that was really, really nice on the forward, especially when there's not a lot out there. These things are just that much more valuable. I did play the VSTO here in the afternoon. Did give you numbers for it here in the afternoon as a similar kind of play, actually. You get the sell set up. Now, the gap on this one not as good, so a lot of the selling kind of occurred intraday rather than clearing on the gap. And then did have some support there in the way. So, I really like the intraday setup. We got the initial sell-off. We base sideways. And then eventually broke underneath also the whole number. Now this did get to low of the day, but that was not what I was looking for as a target. So definitely looking for more. So this ended up not working. It did kill some here as it was breaking above 2610. And then just the last piece trailed over 2630. So not much better. I was using 2641 there as the stop. And I thought as the market was coming into, that would give us a little bit of help. I think the play overall, maybe a little bit aggressive. Might have, yeah, just been, something that had some support issues, and then the gap not being as good, making it just a little bit aggressive. But overall, intraday pattern is still like quite a bit. But I think you can kind of see the difference. They have similar patterns on the Ford and the VSTO. Entries very similar, intraday patterns very similar, but this really speaks to the importance of the daily. And so the daily not only being a more high quality gap, but also having more room to move lower, whereas the VSTO coming into a daily pivot right there. And that's actually kind of where it stopped. So, like both plays, like the intraday, but definitely VSTO a little bit more aggressive given how the larger time frames look. Okay, so something to always keep in mind with these plays, especially as we're constantly drilling down to look at the intraday patterns to look for entries. Okay, all right. Hope you did well today. If not, stayed out of trouble. We will be back at it tomorrow, and I will talk to you then. Have a good evening.